we live yet? Let's see if we are, or if YouTube's just shitting a kitten. No, we are live. Good. Okay. Well, hi, Ogudog. I'm Sigrún with Universal Pagan Temple, and we are going to be talking about several different topics this evening, including how Israel wants to take our freedom of speech right now. And a couple other topics that are, concerning to pagans. But let's get into it. We're going to have some fun times here, and let me get to our starting tab here. So this guy, this popped up this morning, and it was pretty concerning for me. This guy, Shlomo Kramer. So he is an Israeli cybersecurity billionaire, and he's saying it's time to limit the First Amendment. So let's see what he has to say. I'm just gonna adjust the volume, and please let me know if you can't hear what this guy is saying, but we're gonna have a listen here.
Good to hear, but it's time to limit the First Amendment in order to protect it. And quickly before it's too late.
What do you mean?
I mean that we need to control the platforms, all the social platforms. We need to stack rank the authenticity of every person that expresses themselves online and take control over what they are saying based on that ranking.
The government.
The government should
control the social media.
Yeah. I know it's difficult to hear, but it's time to limit.
Okay, so the entire Zionist game plan, one of their, methods is controlling our speech, and they do not like that we have this First Amendment here in America, and they don't like, how, say, Elon Musk. I'm not completely a fan of Elon Musk, of everything that he does, but he did make X a much better platform for freedom of speech, not entirely, but in many different ways, prior to what it was with Twitter. But he's talking about, stamping out the criticism against Israel, and they've already kind of done that with TikTok, with the buying out of TikTok. Where you can't do any sort of criticism of Israel anymore. And, as we know, as pagans, the First Amendment, is our freedom of religion, because Israel does not want non-Christians. They want, good little puppets in Christianity, because that's, where they get their bread and butter. Where they're able to guilt trip with the Christian Zionist thing. They don't have a platform with pagans really all that much, although we are very much a small community. They really don't care about how small or big a community is. They just want to control it. That is their MO for the Zionists. And, it's pretty concerning. And then we have, she's not going to be rep anymore, but Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's even talking about this, saying an Israeli cybersecurity billionaire demanding to take away Americans' guaranteed First Amendment free speech, and President Trump threatening war and sending in troops to Iran is everything we voted against in 2024. Trump voters spent the week threatening a tax revolt. And I've seen posts about this tax revolt, mostly against the Somalian child care centers and health care centers that really do nothing except launder money, not only to the Somalians themselves, but to Act Blue. It's pretty disgusting. Anyway, well, obviously they don't want to pay taxes if it's just going to be used in this regard. Okay, Trump voters spent the week threatening a tax revolt because they are so furious about never-ending waste, fraud, and abuse of their hard-earned money going to foreigners and foreign wars. Yes, exactly. But unfortunately, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she is Christian, so she kind of fits into the religious industrial complex. She hasn't quite gained that freedom of thought yet. The focus should be on tax dollars here at home and defending our God-given freedoms and rights. And, Trump on Truth Social, which is just a bullshit Trump praise social media platform. I mean, I was on for it for, a little while, but realizing that you can't really get an audience on there unless you're really interacting with Trump. That's just the long and the short of it. But anyway, he says, if Iran shoots and violently kills peaceful protesters, which is their custom, the United States will come to their rescue. We are locked and loaded and ready to go. Thank you for this attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. And of course, there are protests going on in Iran, whether they are organic or they are manufactured. Might be a little bit of both. I do support Iran getting rid of the Islamic hold that is upon that country. That is just barbaric. The way the women there are treated, it is just absolutely horrendous. Iran has a long-standing history within the world, and for it to become Muslim like that, that's not good. But then again, Iran is the favorite enemy of Israel right now, so it's just, we have to keep our eyes out on what's going on. Yes. Let me take a look at these comments here. Alrighty. Controlled speech equal controlled reality. Exactly. Odin painted the world and gave names to all things with the runes. Yes, he did. And to control speech, you are controlling his runes. Very, anti-pagan. You're controlling Ansus, which is very much associated with Odin. You're controlling Ewas, which is also, it's not only about animals or horses, it's also about speech and communication. If you've ever seen an EEG of somebody's brain function, when their brain's all hooked up to the little probes, if they've had a seizure or they want to monitor brain activity, it shows, a bunch of hills like that. Ewas. It's your, the electricity in your brain shows the communication of your brain. And then Golf says, Truth Social is just a bad version of Twitter. It is. It was really bad. I mean, I tried it, and it was just, you can't get any traction there. It is really goofy. But anyway, let's get back into it. And of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene is quoting Shlomo Kramer here. And then we are going to take, this was a couple of months ago, I believe. Netanyahu talks how he wants to control all the media and social media in America so he can end our First Amendment, for his goals.
Christian influencers. Okay. You said, you talked about the woke right. And you said, I call it the woke Reich. That's a brilliant. The woke right.
The woke right, because they want to control the conservatives in the media, the right wing. They want them to be good little simps for Israel at all times, good little Christian Zionists. And if you step out of that, you're automatically, all the bad things on the list, the anti-Semitic, the Nazi, you're all of that and a bag of chips. So you have to stay in this little conservative bubble, and you can't venture out of it. No diversity of thought. And I always kind of cringe when I say diversity nowadays, but really it is anti-diversity of thought, in that you can't be against Israel without, being labeled as 100 different isms But really, given Israel's history of what they've been doing to their neighbors, and then to America, getting us in all these foreign entanglements, in these wars, it's really crazy. And then it brings me to where they want to control our First Amendment, is with Palantir, or, they're saying it's pronounced Palantir, but, me being a Lord of the Rings fan, I say Palantir, because I know what they're trying to do. This surveillance system, kind of organized by Peter Thiel and his buddies, and then who, put J.D. Vance, our current vice president, on the map. It was Peter Thiel. And what he's doing, is J.D. Vance, he's still very much on this Zionist bandwagon. All of these people are. And we have to keep an eye on them, because do we want internet ID where you have to, plug in your ID, your social security into the, if you want to use the internet. They're talking about doing this in Europe, and in America it would be crazy. I mean, a lot of people, I think, would just quit the internet entirely, or use some sort of VPN. But yeah, I've even seen Aswynn got a lot of hate for it a couple months ago, saying that this is eventually going to happen. And yeah, I kind of agree with that eventually, if the Zionists stay in power like they have, then yes, we are going to get some sort of Palantir surveillance system. And that, let's move on to the next topic. That kind of brings me on to the whole J.D. Vance, is this newest conspiracy theory, which is very interesting, and I've even commented on myself. Is that, this is from Project Constitution, again, this is just a theory. Is Erika Kirk and J.D. Vance, are they secret siblings from an Ohio breakaway cult? No paper trail and falsified social security numbers. Buckle up. A bombshell claim is going viral. Erika Kirk, of course Charlie Kirk's widow, in case you've forgotten, and J.D. Vance allegedly grew up as brother and sister in the same shadowy Ohio breakaway cult. Raised off-grid, no real paper trail, social security numbers supposedly falsified later. Both from Ohio roots. And I'm going to get to the Ohio thing in a moment. Outside the system, upbringing with zero early records, ties to hidden communities that avoid government tracking, coincidence, or something different, or deeper, sorry. I need a drink of my coffee. Yeah, and of course, that movie based off of J.D. Vance's childhood paints a rough childhood. But what if parts overlap with Erika's mysterious past, obscured family, Romanian ties, and sudden rise? No proof yet, but the whispers are loud. If true, it flips the entire Charlie Kirk saga, TPUSA politics, and power plays. So, when I was looking into Candace Owens and Erika Kirk, when they finally had a meeting, I looked into the natal chart of Candace Owens. Okay, no time of birth, so I'm only able to, see what her planets, what signs her planets are in, not the houses. Okay, but I can get a pretty good estimate of somebody's personality that way. But looking at Erika Kirk, when I looked her up, you look up this is my own tweet here. Erika Kirk's birthday is November 20th, 1988. Okay, so she's a Scorpio. No offense to the Scorpios out there. But it just says, you could see here, born November 20th, 1988, Ohio. But it does not give a town of birth. That is very suspicious. And at the time, I tweeted, and I think I've even mentioned it on a video, oh, I realize I don't even have this pulled up. I apologize, y'all. Anyway, this is what I'm looking at. We'll go back to this. Here's the tweet I was just talking about. Okay. And that's what I just read off. And then apparently somebody put the J.D. Vance's picture and Erika Kirk's picture into AI and said, do these people look related? And AI said yes, and it was Grok. But anyway, here's my tweet. November 20th, 1988. And it does not give a town in Ohio where she was born. And that is suspicious as somebody that, you know, for one reason, you would do that if you didn't want anybody to know that you didn't want people to look into your natal chart in case there was something really dark there. Because I think she knows more than she lets on. She kind of plays the dumb blonde. Okay, that's a common trope within the conservative circles. Okay, that's all fine and dandy. You can do that, but you would really only hide your town of birth for several different reasons. And one of the main reasons, you know, somebody can't look up your natal chart. You know, if you don't have your time of birth, that also impacts it as well. Yeah, as far as the whole conspiracy of some breakaway cult, yeah, that does kind of build into that, and it does kind of, you know, give it some validity, and that, you know, Erika Kirk is desperately trying to hide her background, and I know she's been caught on several things, like she said she wasn't dating, but she is dating. She says she wasn't drinking, but she was drinking. And apparently her mother's side of the family, they are related to the Rothschilds, which is kind of creepy. People are starting to put that together. Not only were they, you know, Jewish, but they were related to the Rothschilds. And that should just get your conspiracy theory mind going in that, you know, how were the Rothschilds connected to the origins of Israel? I mean, Israel wouldn't be there without the Rothschilds. Let's just keep that, you know, that's on the books. Yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on this, and if it develops any further with this whole cult thing, oh, you just looked up, she was born in Cincinnati. Oh, well, on Google, it didn't say that she was born in Cincinnati. Well, that's interesting. Well, I don't know if that's, new. Let's take a look. Okay, it still doesn't say, but birth. See, I look it up. Birth city. Which town? Oh, okay, Cincinnati. Alrighty. Well, there goes my theory. Well, that's fine. It did it on my Google. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I just typed it into to Google like I was going to do an astrology reading on it. Look up the natal chart. But yeah, Cincinnati? Okay. Well, then that goes out the window. But yeah, anyway. And you know, I'm okay with being wrong on things. Totally okay with it. But still, there's a lot of things with Erika Kirk that just don't add up. And it's okay if I hit a wall. But we are going to get into other things. So, this pastor, he's anti-pagan. And he's had some shitty things to say over, you know, the past couple of months where I've been getting back more into watching what the Christians are doing. So we are going to have...
Why must Christians be more political? Let me tell you. From 1776 to 1950, America rode on the coattails of our Christian founding. But as feminism, third world immigration, homosexuals, and weak pastors filled our nation, more of the American population became atheists and pagans. These atheists don't get married. They don't have children. They don't go to church. So while the Christian population is worshiping Christ, providing for their families, and playing with their children, these pagans make politics their religion.
So he automatically conflates atheists with pagans, which is, pagans are the exact polar opposite of being atheists. I mean, a lot of us worship many gods instead of just one god. I would argue that a Christian is closer to being atheist than a pagan is closer to being atheist. Although many pagans, they went from being Christian to atheist to pagan. You know, it's an interesting pathway to follow.
And liberal coalition, their family. They encircle your city council. They take over the boards at your public libraries. They run for public office. And they codify their godless worldview into your local...
Okay, yeah, he's saying pagans, conflating pagans with atheist, and then saying godless worldview. Okay. Only if you're actually an atheist can you actually utilize that word, godless worldview. Although a lot of atheists are better people than a lot of Christians. But let's continue listening.
Politics. So while you're building families, they're building policies to rule your family. While you're planting churches,
they're building policies to rule your family. Christians are doing the same, dude. That is exactly what you want to do. And it has to be your brand of Christianity. It can't be anybody else's brand of Christianity.
They're planting laws in our nation to outlaw your values. Now, by God's grace, people, especially young people, are realizing that all politics are religious. All education is religious. All culture is religious. In other words, it's not whether we will have religious politics, but which religious politics will dominate your city, state.
Remember, if you're complaining about Muslims and you're a Christian, you're closer to Islam than you think in terms of your belief system. And when I bring this up to Christians, they just kick and scream in the comment section, of course. They just shit themselves completely. And so for them to, you know, bring up these Muslims that are posted here, okay. You also have to remember, if you're in support of Israel, if you're a Zionist Christian, you're only going to see more and more Muslims over here in the United States and in Europe, because Israel is kicking the bee's nest over there.
State and nation. There is no neutrality. Jesus says, if they are not for me, they are against me. That is, Christians must evangelize or be evangelized.
Christians must harass, which is, you know, what Christians are best at, and that's why people don't like Christianity, is because of the evangelizing.
Politicize or be politicized.
Yeah, I know you want to do the 7 Mountains mandates. Come on.
Colonize or be colonized. Ultimately, Christians must see that a great way to love your neighbor is to make sure that they are not ruled by people who hate Christ. Look, I know you're busy, but part of building the kingdom of God is applying the gospel to every area of life, including politics.
If my neighbor came to me and started preaching Christianity, True Social, T/Tet Seth. Oh, there you go. But anyway, if my neighbor came over and started preaching Christianity to me, you know, knocked on my door, they are going to get an earful of how their policies and their politics and their belief systems are the cause of their own grief. They don't understand that they produce a lot of their own grief. And really, this comment really put it into perspective here. This Jack Stone, in response to this Dale Partridge preacher. Wild how you're trying to blame pagans and atheists for the problems Christians in politics caused. The largest Zionist organization in America is CUFI, Christians United for Israel. 87% of Congress and the majority of Trump's admin is Christian/Catholic. NGOs flood us with migrants. Yes, they do. And for this guy to be going off labeling pagans in the same boat with atheists, you know, this is just the same mindset as the book Pagan Threat, written by Lucas Miles, who's the head of TP for my bungle, USA Faith, and it just completely just, you know, shows the ignorance within Christianity. They are not willing to admit that they are wrong. They are not really willing to admit that they are harassing people. They are not willing to, you know, admit that, or look at themselves in a critical lens to see, hey, am I causing people to leave my faith by the way I'm behaving? You know, if you have a spiritual IQ of any sort, you know, you should be looking at yourself. If somebody is giving you, like, say, oh, I left Christianity for this, that, and the other reason. Okay, well then you need to take a look at yourself and see, am I the reason why somebody has left my faith? Have I been acting out of line? No, Christians don't do that. Pagans, you know, most of us came from Christianity. We have the place of mind to look back and criticize ourselves. Well, Christianity is pretty close to spiritual narcissism. And somebody just says Christianity is spiritually left. Yes, they are. But very much spiritual narcissism in that, let's see here. Michael Youn recently described TP USA guys falling down drunk at a conference. Can't remember the city. Oh, I believe that. I believe that. After everything else I've heard about TP USA, yeah, anything that you want to tell me about TP USA, I would probably believe. I know, yeah, maybe I should believe with some evidence, but, you know, past actions and influence that have brought us to where we are today, you know, very much rings true for TP USA. They have that kind of, what do you want to call it? Anyway, I lost my train of thought. They have that kind of history. But yes, as far as Christianity goes, yes, very much spiritually narcissistic. And I'm not saying narcissism in terms of, oh, it's the buzzword, it's the newest, you know, negative word that you use against somebody that you don't like. Kind of like 15 years ago, people were calling other people bipolar without even realizing what bipolar even means. But no, Christians, they kind of, with the Jesus egregore, they kind of download it and they become a bit narcissistic. And once they leave Christianity, they drop that narcissism. And it's actually it's shocking to see the behavior of former Christians when they come to paganism. And straight paganism. I'm not talking about New Agers, because there are some New Agers that will they're just grifting. They will just take certain aspects of the New Age or witchcraft and just use it to sell themselves. Okay. If you ever notice that most other religions are isms, but Christianity is an anity, like the form of insanity. Yes, exactly. Yeah. There's Wow. That's profound, actually. Yeah, like there's Judaism, well, Islam that doesn't have it, but Buddhism, Hinduism, paganism, but yeah, the anity, yeah, as insanity. Yeah, there's a root term in there for you. I like that. Thank you. That wins the chat for the day. But yeah, this whole, like I was saying, the pagan threat book is finding its way into these pastors now, which is what I was warning against, in that they are attaching the word pagan to things that don't even match what paganism is, but they just want it as a buzzword to get the attention of Christians. And then when somebody actually says that I am a pagan, well, those Christians are automatically going to associate paganism with the radical left, which it is not. A pagan can be any political party that they choose to. Whether I agree with your politics or not, that's just fine with me. If you disagree with me politically, as long as you're not, trying to take away my rights as a pagan, my freedom of my First Amendment right, and especially my Second Amendment right. But yeah, as far as the Christians go, they would like to take away our First Amendment rights, and to see that the Zionists are also of the mindset to take away our First Amendment rights, it is something to be concerned over. Okay, so Robert Ball, I've never been a Christian, so I couldn't say how coming from Christianity would affect me. It seems to have a lot of less power over me than it does most pagans I talk to. Oh wow, so you're clean. You're clean. Where I came from a Christian background up until like I was 13, 14, and then I kind of went to atheism, but not truly atheist. Looking back on it, I was just a rebellious teenager at the time. But then going into paganism, 18, 19. But yeah, a lot of people have a lot of leftover religious trauma from Christianity. So that's what you're getting when you're talking to other pagans, is we've got a lot of religious trauma. And that's why I talk about it on this channel, is a way for people to vent, but also as a way for us to be aware of what they're doing. It's not so much of an issue, say in Europe. There's not, in these days, maybe not 50 years ago, but these days, in this time period, there's not a lot of extremist Christianity going on in Europe as there is in America. We're very much a stronghold here, and the Christians are very loud and very numerous, and they are very much involved in our politics. And when I was just talking about the Seven Mountains mandates, is about Christians that want to destroy the separation of church and state, and basically have a Christian theocracy without actually saying that they want to have a Christian theocracy. And you're born and bred European. Nice. Yeah, for us Americans, European Americans, we can trace some of us can trace our lineage back to Europe. Yeah. It almost feels like America was created for this very purpose. Yeah, the Christians like to say that America is a Christian nation, but it really was a nation to get away from, spiritually from a Christian theocracy, by several of the founding fathers that were deists. But yeah, the Christians do very much want to take over. And it's something I've always talked about and always thought, if an actual Christian theocracy were to be to put in place in America, which form of Christianity would the theocracy be? that is something to think of. Would it be Catholic? Well, then the Protestants would have a big problem with that. Would it be Protestants? Well, then there's, so many different factions and denominations of Protestantism that there would be a lot of infighting. Then America would actually have a big civil war between the factions of Christianity, the denominations. Basically, Utah would be its own country at that point with the Mormons. And then the Northeast would be separated between Catholics and Protestants. The South would be all evangelical and Protestant. Then you get into, I believe, from Louisiana to the West, focusing on the South, would be Catholic. And then separate Catholic, not Catholic, but Protestant, depending on the denomination, in between, especially the Midwest. So there would be a lot of infighting, because a couple months ago I was actually looking into Christian spaces and seeing what the Christians were talking about amongst each other, and it was a lot of infighting. I mean, there's some arguments between pagans, but with Protestants versus Catholics, they really can't unite on that, because the Protestants, the evangelicals, they think that the Catholics are all idol worshippers, with their Catholic altars. But there's that. But now's the time of the stream where I let the audience ask questions of me, or just have a chat. We can change the topic. I don't care. I hope everybody had a really good New Year, even though I know some pagans don't actually acknowledge the Gregorian calendar New Year. If your path or your tradition celebrates it at the beginning of spring, or Samhain, or when Sirius is seen in Egypt. I know there's some pagans that do that. We had a pretty peaceful New Year, of course. I do have pets, and they don't like it for obvious reasons. But I will throw any questions out to the audience. If y'all have anything you want to talk about, rant about. I'm excited to see what this new year will bring. Oh, what is the symbolism between your Yara and Fehu pendants? These are special to me. I've had this Fehu one for about 10 years now. Fehu, always attracting wealth, prosperity, and energy to me. And then also Freya, blessed goddess to me, and then Yara, for growth, and working in conjunction with Fehu, growth over time, prosperity over time. And this Yara is very special because it's made from a deer antler. So that's why I wear these. I am a business owner, but I also like, additional energy. And so a lot of my magic practice is with runes. And, I have the entire Thuffork on my ring here. I don't know if y'all can see that. It's a very special thing. It's my wedding band. I've got Odin's wolves on my index finger here, an amethyst ring, and then a very 90s mood ring. This is actually what it would be considered, not retro, but vintage. Things that are made in the 90s are considered vintage now. Kind of disturbing, but it is what it is. I've been working with rune magic since 10 years now. It'll be 10 years. Since I seriously started working with Rune Magick and had incredible, or no, maybe 2015. That's when I started. Because that's when I first got acquainted with the Norse pantheon. We were actually doing a full moon ritual, my husband and I think the video was actually on it. I didn't say anything in the video, but I felt the Allmother Frigga's presence when I was doing the drawing down of the moon. You know, it was a Wiccan ritual. So I actually did feel the presence of the Allmother, because you're, channeling, goddess mother energy. So, and I was reading into, the Norse pantheon, especially into the Allmother Frigga. And that's when I first became acquainted with that goddess, was during that, reading and during that ritual. And so, yeah, I've been working with rune magic. First rune spell I did was in 2015, in July, I believe. Yeah. What is the purpose behind wearing the amethyst? Oh, amethyst, it keeps you calm in stressful situations. That's mostly why I wear it. It's a very, it's a stone really linked to spirituality. Oh, hi! Hey, Taste of Truth, yeah! You were out at a concert. Oh, nice. Yeah, I don't get to catch concerts anymore. I used to catch them more frequently. But yeah, I got a son now, so I am not going to do what my mother did to me and drag me to various concerts. That just bored the hell out of me, or before I actually had musical taste. Because my parents, my mother is a huge Eric Clapton fan, and so I was taken to an Eric Clapton concert at 8 years old before I could even appreciate Eric Clapton. Now, if you were to take me to an Eric Clapton concert, I'd be so happy. Oh yeah, I love purple. Red is currently my favorite color, red and black, but purple, 10 years ago, I was all purple. Yeah, my son, yeah, he likes what he likes, and what he doesn't like, he doesn't like. And I am not going to, make him watch something he doesn't want to watch. Although, I guess, he'll get exposed to things as he gets exposed to things, but, although when we're driving, it's mom's music, so he does get exposed to different musical tastes, which is mostly thrash metal and every other type of metal in between, and the occasional disco. Do you feel like Odin is disguised and his people? We continue to be used and abused, and we will rise up to fight. Yes, Odin is, he is in a lot of people, but I've been thinking about this lately, is why are we so passive right now? I think it's in the food. Our food is incredibly poisoned. Fluoride in our water, the absolute deluge of chemicals in our food, not just in, the prepackaged processed foods, but in our, in our meats, in our dairies, and, it's exposed to all these chemicals, fruits, vegetables. You talk to other people that have lived in other countries for any amount of time, and they say the food tastes different over there. Especially like, breads in Germany, they actually have real bread. In America, I've heard this from Germans before. I grew up around a lot of Germans in Central Texas. It's like they have to make their own bread. They can't eat American bread because there's so much sugar in it. Oh yeah, a holistic health coach, exactly. Yeah, there is so much crap in our food. It's not even cute. And I know RFK Jr. I haven't been completely happy with how he's been handling things, but I'm happy that he has been going after the food industry. That's one bright spot in this whole administration. Gotta decalcify your pineal gland if you want Odin to open your mind's eye. Yeah, or meditate on the Ansu's rune, and be prepared for Odin to just whip you into shape and kick your ass. Really, the first time I did a meditation and contacted Odin, he called me lazy. And I knew, okay, alright, well then I need to get off my ass and do a lot of shit. And that's okay. I'm fine with the gods calling me out. They've earned that right. Alrighty, let's see here. There are many American food items that are considered unfit for human consumption in many countries. Yeah, exactly. Or like the European version of the American food doesn't have certain chemicals in it. Right. It's been a mixed bag with RFK Jr., but a step in the right direction. Exactly. Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, I know Odin very well. He wants us to kill the enemies of our people, and we won't. He is sickened by our weakness. Yeah, it is going to take a lot to awaken our, that part of us. Yes. Have you seen the disgusting Mountain Dew pie at Taco Bell? Oh, it's crazy that it's illegal for them to sell that. I've only seen Asmongold eat it. And considering, Asmongold is known as, the Roach King, and he's lived off of fast food. Okay, well, that's his thing, but I wouldn't eat it myself. Last time I tried to drink a Mountain Dew, I just tasted the chemicals and I poured the rest down the sink. That I know had a slow drain, so the acid in the drink would actually dissolve the drain, or dissolve the gunk in the sink. But purifying ourselves to connect with the gods better is something to focus on, I believe. You don't have to fast necessarily, just have a cleaner diet. This year I'm trying to wean myself off of sodas, although seltzer water, I'll do that, but coffees and seltzers, and no sodas. Connecting with our gods, the gods of our ancestors. For me, it'd be the Norse Germanic pantheon. Is very important to me. I have connected with other gods of other pantheons, and that's all good and well. But I definitely feel the call of Odin this year now more than ever, which is a good thing and also a good sign, working with the runes. And then I hope at some point, when she's available, to have Freya Aswynn on a stream. I've been friends with her for years, and I think she's got an autobiography coming out. My espresso machine is such a treat, yeah. Let's see, I fasted for 7 days and had some pretty spiritual type visions towards the end of my fast, very vivid memories of my childhood, but in third person where I could see myself. Oh wow, yeah, I can't do fasting. I have to eat. I'm not that strong. I tend to get lightheaded and dizzy if I don't eat. Good for you. If I need to meditate, I'll just in the middle of the night when everybody's asleep and not going to bother me, then that's when I can do some deep soul searching or past life regressions that are quite interesting. Anything else on anybody else's mind? Yeah, some people with certain health conditions shouldn't attempt fasting. I agree with you there. Because yeah, I've had fainting spells when I was younger when I didn't eat. It was just like when I skipped breakfast and then I did something like that required a lot of exertion from myself. Yeah, I've had fainting spells. That's not good. We don't want to be doing that, especially yeah. Yeah. Oh, attempting a long-term fast. Yeah, I can't do that. Other people, yeah, if you can do that, that's cool. But for me, yeah, if I'm gonna purify myself, I might as well just, change my diet, drink a bunch of water, work out, and fast something else, maybe like, the internet for a day. Although I do run business or two online, so that's kind of hard for me to do. But definitely, yes, if you're able to fast, that's cool. That's amazing, actually. I don't have that type of a commitment. Your record for fasting is 2 days. Impressive. Yeah, anything, yeah. Any kind of fasting, yeah, it's impressive. But I was just like, fasting food. Like, I could fast caffeine, yeah. Oh, you going to bed? Good night. Well, I think I'm going to wrap up the stream as well. Well, yeah, for me, yeah, I couldn't do it. I gotta eat. Well, thank you all for coming by to my stream, and we'll make sure to do another one in a couple of days. But I wish you all the best. Yeah, we will wrap up this stream, and in case anything else explosive happens, yep, hail the gods and hail the folk. Yep. Good night.